Hello and welcome to Rona's Roadshow. With me today, who have I got? Mr. Canning Stockroot himself.
Oh shucks, Phil, this is
Phil Bianchi. Phil's kindly agreed to give us a little bit of an intro and a bit of some of the idea of what the Canning Stockroot's all about. So I want to thank you for that, Phil.
Thank you.
So just say, a novice like me, what's a couple of things, that it would be nice for me to know as I head out there?
Well, it's 1,800 kilometres long.
Yeah.
It's a long way. You need to be have a well-prepared vehicle so that you don't break down out there. You must make sure that everything's okay before you leave, not like you've got something a bit dodgy, I'll fix it when I get home. And be prepared to face anything that comes along and enjoy yourself.
Now, how many times have you done it, Phil, the Stockroot?
I have done the Stockroot 3 times from Woe to Go, and I don't know how many times I've done sectors.
The thing for you, Phil, is it's obviously a passion. How, what have you done in regards to the historical stuff?
Well, the first trip was 1996, and I wanted to know more about what it was all about, and I found there was some history, but there wasn't as much history as I would have liked, and that's how I got involved in writing the book on the history of the Canning Stockroot. So,
Phil, you wrote the book. Now, it's called
Work Completed Canning, a comprehensive history of the Canning Stockroot, 1906 to 2010.
So it's quite contemporary, as well as you've got a real breadth of history there.
Yeah.
Wow, I was amazed, Phil, when I was on that track at the enormity of the work that's been done out there. I mean, just the original, going through there and digging that all up and everything.
Yeah,
I mean,
it took them 2.5 years to put the wells in.
2.5 years?
Yes, they were away 2.5 years.
And who was Canning? How did he get chosen for this?
Right, Alf Canning was a government surveyor, just a public servant doing his work, and in 1902, 1903 the rabbits became a problem in Western Australia, and the government said we need a bloke to survey from the south coast to the Pilbara coast to put a fence in.
A rabbit-proof fence.
So they asked Canning, he and a bloke assisting him called Trotman, they surveyed it, and then they were about to be put in charge to install it, and the government decided it needed a stockroot from Halls Creek to Wiluna, so they said, oh well, Canning's been running around out there, we'll ask him to survey the stockroot, and that's how he got involved.
Wow. What was the purpose of it? Why couldn't you just put them on a boat?
Well, there was a number of reasons. One, there was a lot of damage to stock coming down on the boat. They'd broken legs and bruised and starved and weren't
cruelty issues.
Yeah. Yep. And the other, and probably the main reasons, was the Kimberley had a disease, a tick, a parasitic tick that would attach themselves to the cattle. If they brought them down by ship, the tick wouldn't die and it would spread to the south of the pastoral industry. So they said, right, no Kimberley cattle can come down.
So if they walked them down, the tick would die?
If they walked them down across the desert, the tick would eventually die and fall off because it was too dry.
Right.
They couldn't survive the desert environment. They worked that out. And the other reason for bringing the cattle down was the gold rush quadrupled West Australia's population, and then they were meat hungry, and meat was being brought as far away as Queensland, chilled. I'm not sure how they chilled it because it's 1905 or 6. They chilled it and brought it around, and they said, well, let's try and get it down from the Kimberley. And it came to Wiluna, and it was either walked to Leonora, the cattle, or they were taken by train around to Geraldton and down to Perth. And that's the essence of the stockroot.
Wow. Now, I noticed there was a lot of violence on that stockroot. Every well we seemed to stop at, there'd been a murder or a body found, and what's that about?
Right. Back in 1906, when Canning did the survey, a lot of it was virgin country. Explorers had been across it mainly east, west, west, east, but not really much up and down. Carnegie went through in '96 and so did Wells, but they were further east and then they... When they went through, Canning needed to know where the waters were, and they captured a number of Aborigines along the way to get them to show them where water was. When Canning built the wells, the concern started to be that the Aborigines thought, and justifiably so, that these cattle with the camels would drink all the water, and there was already a shortage. It would make life difficult for them, hence the angst. And it's since come through, historically based, from the Aboriginal point of view. They felt that their sacred waters were being damaged, destroyed by Canning's wells, and Canning unwittingly, and the government didn't know this, and they just built the wells and were unaware. That's all history that's come up. Spearings, there was murders, there was government reprisals. 3 men were killed in 1911 coming down. They would be the first cattle, and they were Shoesmith Thompson and an Aboriginal drover called Chinaman. And the government said, "Oh, we can't have this." So they sent a policeman, Sergeant Pilmer, and it was his job to sort them out. And in his report, he said he dispersed them, about 16 Aborigines, meaning he killed them. So
it has a history.
Right or wrong, you know, in today's terms, we would never do that.
So look, there's so many stories. I mean, I could have Phil here all day about this book, but there it is. Work completed, Canning. So it's a comprehensive history of the Canning stock route, 1906 to 2010. Go to Woe. Just look how thick that is. That's a lot of info. Bedtime reading before you get cracking. And you can get this at Hesperian Press. Okay, I want to thank you very much, Phil.
Thank you very much.
It's been absolutely wonderful. Yeah. Please buy the book. Support our local historians. This is local history. It's fascinating. I want you to like and subscribe to Rona's Roadshow if you can find it in your heart. And many thanks to the Getaway 4-Wheel Drive Club, who actually I went with on the trip on the Canning stock route, and Phil, of course, is a member. Great club. If anyone's interested, I'll put the link in for that too. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye from Rona's Roadshow.